what are the chances of Trump being influenced by Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE to basically try to back down out of his promise? What are the chances?
I know you were asking that, so here's the short and skinny of it. As I said the last time I was here, the environment is very much defined as a complex adaptive system, and the events going on inside Iran is within a broader geopolitical and geostrategic environment. Chaikom's pressure towards Taiwan, Putin doing things in Europe.
Yep.
And so as all those are all moving parts. And so as those moving parts continue to move, actors engage in something called competitive adaptation, meaning you're modifying things on the fly. Now, that's not to say, oh, well, like if modification means somebody's not coming to help you. I'm saying that like if you see a change, what you think is a change in posture or activity, it could
Okay.
be it could be that we're just modifying things on the fly, or it could mean something else. I can't give you a definitive answer. I'm just saying it
Okay.
could be either one of those.
Okay. All right. So I see the list that I had before you came in is Ruth was next, and then Jeffrey, and then it's you. I see.
Yeah, that's what I got. Ruth.
Oh, that's what you got? Oh, okay.
Okay. So, first of all, Armin, that video that you showed with the girl calling in, we need to make that go viral. That would be like the best thing we can do right now is make that video go viral.
That I could guarantee you that video is gonna go viral.
And if I can get my hands on it, I'll do what I can on my end because that just absolutely has to go viral. And then I posted on school a link to a podcast of Chaviv Retego where he talks about why the United States shouldn't physically attack and what he thinks should be done to take down the regime. And I would love to get your response to that. Put up a podcast about why the United States should not physically attack Iran, but should take other measures and what measures they should take in order to bring down the regime in Iran. And I would love to get your response to that. And I posted a link to it in school.
Oh, so you went, okay. How long is the video?
I posted a link to it in school under news. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to stay very long because I am still sick.
How long is the podcast, though?
It's about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to do it right now.
It's really difficult for me these days to be able to, because I'm getting like updates every couple of seconds. And I need, so watching something that is 30 minutes is a bit difficult. But do you want to give me the gist of it so I could?
The gist of it is that he's saying that if you attack, it's not going to be effective because the Iranian regime doesn't care about the people, and the more people that get killed, actually, the happier they will be. And
who's asking what? Who's asking about attacking the? Okay, that is retarded. Who's asking America attacking the people? We're talking. The attack would be
because
on
there's always going to be collateral damage.
Yeah, the IRGC people. They don't care about them either. That's the claim.
But what's the harm? They're going to have less resources.
Use it as propaganda that the United States is attacking them.
Oh, that is retarded. They already have all the propaganda. They make propaganda out of thin air. They don't need the excuse. They make propaganda out of thin air. The Islamic Republic is on shortage of propaganda. Thank you so much for helping us, not giving them the excuse for propaganda, as if right now they're not doing that. That is a retarded take.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, he gives 5 things that the United States could do that are not a physical attack that would bring down the regime.
Anything that is not physical, anything that is not a military, is actually going to destroy the hopes of the Iranian people because it's much less than what they expected. So anything less is going to contribute to demotivation. Because we're waiting for something. The Iranian people in the streets, they're begging for something more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. Thank you. So, Armin, number one, before we move on, I just wanted to tell you because I wrote aside the names because I knew I won't be able to pronounce it, but I saw that maybe you would like it that the U.S. just sanctioned globally 2 guys. Did you see it? where the US just sanctioned like globally two guys, Reza Muhammad Rashfadoral, blah, 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 and some other guys, some heavy guys from the IRGC. They just sanctioned them like
Yeah,
globally.
that's not gonna
Oh,
do much these days.
they can't run now. Where would they go?
Oh, okay.
And so that's one. And
Honestly, I want them to be able to run, because if they can't run, then they will stay in the country and they will fight the people. I want them to have a way out so that we could hunt them. I want them. We will hunt them down later. I want them to be an exit door so that they focus on running away rather than focusing on killing the Iranian people.
They can run to Russia or something.
so that's one thing. The other thing is I wanted to talk to you about, because you're asking a lot of questions that, I mean, it makes sense. The situation doesn't look very promising sometimes. And what Jeffrey is trying to tell you with the amber and all the colors, that's very American in their manual, the colors. I don't know why, but it's a very American thing. The only thing that I can say to you is I think that you should trust the process. You don't move half of the fleet, halfway of the world to negotiate. You don't do that. Trump said, and he alerted that there's going to be psychological warfare from the kind that they never saw. And this is exactly what you see. I don't know if you like football, but in football, like it's soccer, we call it football. You have the Tiki Taka. You know what it is? It's when the players are moving the ball very, very quickly in sharp angles, and then they can actually like go between the legs of some other player and then score the goal. They tiki taka the ball. That is exactly what Trump is doing. I think there's pointing finger games for like 2 days between the White House and Israel, that they say, listen, guys, we need to move on. It's taking you too much time. And then Israel tells the US, no, it's taking you too much time. We are ready. And then they say, no, 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 you are not ready. We are ready. And listen, it's psychological warfare, and they're fucking up the IRGC. They are. And the more that we will explain it, and the more you will explain it to the people, the less effective it is. Okay? The more that we talk about it, the less effective it is. So have faith. That's all I'm saying. And now we have Daniel Dom.
I watched the call to this, I don't know, can I call it a show? When this woman was shouting in horror and was crying.
Yeah, it looks like a radio show.
Where did she actually call? What was that? Because they were looking super cool about it, like he was smiling at some moments. That guy was speaking like that was. I tried
That's
to figure
Manoto.
out.
That's Manoto. That's one of the second most famous Iranian media by the diaspora. The first one is Iran International. The second one is Manoto.
Okay. Well, because I was just like with.
It's really big.
I thought it. Yeah, no. I just thought she was calling in Iran to some IRGC show or something, and somehow it went off Iran to
No.
out.
No. They wouldn't have a show. How could you have a show in Iran right now? No. That he's calling from inside Iran to Iranians outside of Iran.
I don't think it's more of a question about like an extension for the talk of the psychological warfare. Like when they went to make the storm in the desert against Iraq, they did some move to dehumanize their opponent. The Americans, they gave to the Iraqis elite, like they assigned them like they were cards, like poker cards. And then every time
What?
they took some, then when they took someone off, they was just saying, "Oh, we took the king of hearts."
Wait,
we took the
you're
queen
talking about the
of
Iraq War? You're
fun."
talking about the cards that they gave for the Iraq War?
Yeah.
So how's that relevant to the
I just asking if there is any measure that Iranians can do right now in the outside on the regime guys, so like make a
no don't
separation between the Iranians, the citizens of Iran, and those who are the leaders of the IRGC
yeah,
stuff.
don't worry. Wait a minute. No, okay, don't worry. We have very detailed list and very detailed information about everyone's activity. So don't worry about that. Okay,
It's not an information about everyone's activity. Of course, you know who does what.
Can you Okay, I want to move to the next person. So let me know what the exact question is. Like, if you could do it in one sentence.
Please, can you do something to separate the bad guys from the good guys in Iran in the eyes of the rest of the world, and not being like every Iranian
I don't think
associated
that
with
you need,
some stupid.
but why
Okay,
do you need?
don't
Does the world blind to the fact that the people of Iran are throwing up from the IRGC? You don't have this
yeah,
problem.
don't worry. We'll move past that point. We already succeeded with that, and we have succeeded enough with that. Yeah, so don't worry. Okay. All right.
All right, Jeffrey.
Oh, thanks. Just to answer the question, what Azzy is saying, I didn't want to use. I know you were looking for a percentage. There's a very specific kind of analytical standard. It's ICD 203, and I wasn't going to use that for obvious reasons. With regards to like the issue regarding collateral damage, yes, that's there. That said, you have to weigh relative risk between the risk of doing and incurring collateral damage versus the risk of not doing, and then just letting the IRGC kill people indiscriminately. And how we kind of like, there are many options available to the United States or our military that allow us to minimize collateral damage that I'm not going to go into here. Yeah. So I'm almost positive that they're looking at things like that. As far as the policy handles that they're looking at, it kind of breaks down into 6 categories, right? You have political pressure and diplomacy, which is already being done, political warfare and information operation, economic sanctions and financial warfare, which is being done, cyber operations, which disrupts things like IRGC communication and or re-enables communication and stuff amongst the brave Iranian protesters and or resistors. You have direct material support of protesters, like airlifts of like water, food, medical supplies, things that are more kinetic. Then you have military options that go from limited strikes that look to reestablish red lines, degrade specific capabilities, signal escalation dominance with off ramps. You have sustained campaigns, which are long range degradation of threat systems. You're focusing on like suppressing Mullah retaliatory capabilities, striking missiles, striking nuclear capability, taking our IRGC units, or are you talking about decapitative strikes targeting leadership? And then you have large scale mass strikes, which is like that requires a lot of sorties. I mean, I'm not going to go into how many sorties are planned or how many targets there are and what the minimum mention spare regarding sorties that are needed. I'm just saying that's how you might want to think about it. As far as like limited strikes, this goes to your question, Armin. You wanted people to flee, right? Because you want to give bad guys the opportunity to get out so that way you can bring a conclusion to this and then solidify around under a non-Mullah regime, transitionary government and or representative republic headed up by His Highness Reza Pahlavi, which very much understand the goal. Maybe that might, so the other guy's saying, how can you separate between people who defect and loyalists? And if you were going to do selective decapitative strike, to sit there and go, okay, if you're a loyalist and you're engaging in killing citizens, well, then you're going to take some kinetic operations to the forehead. Whereas the guys who defect, they're like, well, if you defect and you're protecting the Iranian people, then it's hands off, that kind of thing. I think that's what he was asking. How can you separate those two? The only problem with that is, how do you do that in a manner where then the bad guys, when they go, oh, we're all defecting, and try to escape punishment, right? The devil's in the details on that one.
The priority is to, I think a lot of people want to make sure that the people who need to be punished get punished, but I think that we should switch the priority to winning the revolution. That's something that we focus on later.
And about the percentages, what Jeffrey said, it's true, because what he said is kind of like me saying this. I have all of these classical players, okay? Tuba, trumpet, violin, all of these different players sitting in one room, okay? One of them busts up a note once in a while. Now, you kind of asking me, when would they start being the philharmonic and play together? I don't know, but it's very weird that they are all together in the same room, isn't it? I think it's kind of.
Had to get the camera working. Sorry. Armin, I sent you that link to your Gmail. I just noticed something rather interesting on Fox News. Just wanted to make sure you're aware that they're running a story on the pro regime demonstrations at Tehran University, where they were holding up the signs of the Pennsylvania assassination attempt of Trump, basically saying that in Arabic, signs that this time, air the bullet won't miss, things like that. I can send you that article as well. It's on the Fox News website right now, but I strongly suspect, and this is again kind of, I see American news media as basically just facts presented through political narrative. Republicans being associated with Fox News, it's very likely to me that this stories like this that are kind of hit jobs on the regime, combined with the interview with Arakshi, is likely specific propaganda, intended to soften the American public or even put them hopefully in favor of the forthcoming strikes. So it's likely they're talking to the constituents at this point, trying to sort of justify what's already been decided.
Bid legitimacy. Okay.
Well, I can't really talk too much because I just had dental surgery. Armin, I wanted to ask, what is the problem with Masih Alinejad? Why is
Where do I start?
she's not MEK?
So she was very popular at first when the revolution was about taking off hijab. Those days were the days that she was a big part of that movement, and she was loved. But then people started noticing that when the revolution was moving away from hijab to other things, she kind of wanted to keep it. So that was the initially when some people think like, this is not about hijab, right? This is about like the, the Islamic Republic being gone. But she wanted to. That was first what made some people not like her, right? Then when during the Massa Revolution, when she started to basically a council of people, include that she was part of, and Princess of Pahlavi was part of. Like, so there was a council of 4 people, mostly 4 people. There were other people, but they were not the major members. It was Princess of Pahlavi, Masih Alinejad, Hamid Ismailion, and Abdullah Muhtadi. They were supposed to be the leaders of the opposition, the 4 of them together. And a lot of the supporters of Princess of Pahlavi thought that Masih Alinejad is not as important as Princess of Pahlavi, and they didn't want a council of leaders. They wanted the leadership of Princess of Pahlavi. So a lot of them were pushing Princess of Pahlavi like to not sit with these people, especially because Hamid Ismailion had MEK connections and reformers connections, and Abdullah Muhtadi was a separatist, a Kurdish separatist. He wasn't openly a Kurdish separatist, but eventually some leaked audio showed that our accusations against him was correct, that he is actually a Kurdish separatist. And then when they issued a declaration, they put their statement out for the Shorai Hambastagi, the Council of Hambastagi, as it was called. The text of that showed that it was basically all our fears come true, because it was very anti-nationalist, and it seemed like Abdullah Muhtadi was the person that was writing the whole thing, right? So when a lot of people complain about that was years ago, Princess of Pahlavi said that he is going to be working with other people as well, not just this council. Just by announcing that, it made Hamid Ismailion turned against Princess of Pahlavi, and eventually Masih Alinejad also turned against Princess of Pahlavi, coming out on Iran International and speaking against him, which made a lot of Iranians hate him. And also, she had a meeting with, I think his name is Michael Levey or Mark Levey. What is it? Let me see. Which is the French, no, Mark Levey or Michael Levey. I forgot his name. There's a French billionaire. No, I forgot his name. Something Levey. He's a Jewish billionaire, French Jewish billionaire who is very much in favor of Kurdish separatism. And so Masih Alinejad had a meeting with her just so that he could secure a meeting with her, and she had a meeting with Macron. But a lot of people realize that she's willing to meet with anybody as long as it increases her profile. She kept on using vocabulary that was a copy of Kurdish separatist language, and a lot of people didn't like that. But generally, through her activities, people's understanding was that she just does everything to increase her profile, and she's not really doing that for the sake of Iranian people. And she sees this as a competition, and she considers Princess of Pahlavi to be a competition. And through her actions, that became more and more apparent, and that's why it became she more and more hated. And also the latest example is that during this wave of the revolution, when it was clear that almost every gathering had a chant in favor of Princess of Pahlavi, when she was posting the chants, she would carefully select the ones that didn't have any chants in favor of Princess of Pahlavi. So she would basically cherry pick chants that was saying death to the dictator, death to the Islamic Republic, death to Khamenei, or stuff like that. But she wouldn't post a single video of people saying Javid Shah or Pahlavi is returning or anything like that until she was being called out on social media that, okay, you're obviously cherry picking the chants that you're posting. And then she started posting a few of them, but not a lot, but just a few of them because it was becoming too obvious what she's doing. Does that answer your question? Okay.
I have a question for Jeffrey about the USA policy, because I would like to hear your assessment when it comes to the influence of both Vance and Rubio on Trump and the USA policy, because I think one is pro-intervention and the other one is not.
So it's like every administration is comprised of different people that have different views on stuff. It's very true that Senator Rubio is very much more an interventionist. There's no doubt about it. I actually went, man, that's another story for another day. Vance is not a non-interventionist, at least to the best of my knowledge of the people that are around him and all that. He's more of a guarded realist, you might say. Whereas Senator, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he's still a realist. It's much more of an offensive realist. I happen to agree with Senator, now Secretary of State Marco Rubio, although I can understand or appreciate why Vance has some of the, the caveats he does. When you weigh relative risk, people shake out on different sides of that. I happen to be on the one of intervention. Other people, even if they are pro-intervention, they're like, well, we want to make sure there's certain other I's and T, dotted and T's crossed. Does that help?
Yeah, I know where they stand, but who do you think Trump agrees with more?
Trump is his own man. I would not venture a guess to, and if I did know, I wouldn't say it in an open channel anyway. I appreciate the reason why you're asking that. I wouldn't be able to tell you because I don't live in President Trump's head. And if I did have inklings, which everybody does, I wouldn't want to venture that, not because, oh, it means it's, it's dangerous or it's bad or it's good. I wouldn't want to give any insight to anybody else who's not supportive of Iranian protesters.
I respect that. Thank you.
All right. Amen.
Okay, so apparently, I just got this from Nail Bunny. Trump has made a statement questioning whether Iranian supporters are Pahlavi.
Right. Yes.
There. Okay. There are many. Okay, let me actually watch this. And
Does it make
people
you
are
stress?
posting. Well, I'm going to ask you what you guys think. So, other Iranians are posting on social media saying, "Dear President Trump, as an Iranian, I support the restoration of the constitutional monarchy and recognize His Royal Highness Prince Reza Pahlavi as the." So, a lot of Iranians are now posting on social media announcing that they support the prince. Yeah, what do you think, Asi? You wanted to? Yeah,
We have a term in Hebrew from the military. We call it a kitbag question. A kitbag is a very heavy bag that you need to carry. So, say your last sentence again.
And Trump has made a statement questioning whether Iranians support Prince Reza.
And so this is the kitbag question. Why? Because everybody knows that they support Prince Reza Pahlavi. But I think that Trump will suffer greatly from the American people who have this non-interventionist and style, and also this you must respect other people's culture and sovereignty type of shit. And so you can't be the Trump that came to a dictatorship and took it apart just so a monarchy could be ruling there that you placed, Mr. Trump. He's like, no. I'm not sure if the Iranian people like him so much. Now the Iranian people are making a lot of noise saying, yeah, we actually like him. So what do you want from Trump? Do you understand?
I want to try to find out where he said this because I'm not seeing this.
He said it this afternoon, Israel time. It's a few hours ago.
Oh, he's a few hours ago? I mean, this is the Machado treatment. Remember, guys, when he said that about Machado, I said, I hope he doesn't ever say that about Princess of Pahlavi, I was right to be concerned. No, am I wrong?
Pahlavi seems nice. I'm not sure how they will accept him in Iran.
Oh, okay. He said, "Oh yeah, he seemed like a nice guy. We'll see if the Iranian people." So the way that you could make this into a more hopeful message is by saying that he said, "We'll see what the Iranian people want, and if they want him, it's okay." Right? Is that what he said? This is extremely stressful, by the way.
Armin, you're doing
It's stressful.
amazing at being strong.
Samantha.
We just talked about it yesterday, that in Israel, we're playing at hardballs and we're playing it so slick. But in wartime, we had Hagari, our spokesperson that came and he's talking slow and he came us down. You don't have that. You need to figure out like what's good, what's a good message, what's a bad message, what do you say, what you don't say, and yeah, I get the stress, man.
I was getting calmed down by like listening to Yair Lapid, and now I'm like really fucking pissed at him.
Okay. But yeah, like you need to just look at things and say to yourself that you're not freaking out from nothing for the first 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, you can start freaking out, but
That's why I pointed out earlier that Axios in the Washington Post was sort of not directly leaning in favor towards the Iranian regime, like the Islamic regime, but in a way they were making it seem like Trump is gonna back off striking Iran.
The stressful part of all of this is that what I think that is happening right now, it's the most important part of Iran's history in our lifetime, right? This is our independence movement. This is going to be our Genesis story.
yes.
And I am living through it and I'm taking part in it, right? If I'm doing anything wrong, I will look back at it for decades and realize that I was part of the problem rather than the solution in the most historic moment of our history.
It's like being afraid of raising your kids. You can't be with an approach like this. It's like being afraid of raising your own.
The difference is that your kid is one person, but as we're speaking right now, bodies are dropping on the ground, right? Like we're talking about thousands of people. And every mistake by anybody could basically add to that.
Yeah, but you do your best, and that's what you can do.
Yeah, well, doing your best is not good enough. Doing your best is what losers say just to make themselves feel better about themselves. But I'm trying. So I need criticism. I really appreciate people telling me like, "Oh my God, you're doing a great job." And that is, to me, I appreciate that because you need motivation. But I also think that because people want to be kind to you, if you're making a mistake, they're encouraging you to continue your mistake because they don't want to be a bad person. So I feel like there's no self-correcting mechanism here because everybody wants to be supportive.
Okay. Jeffrey, then Francisco, and then Michael.
Yeah, so I mean, you're already so with regards to what people think we're going to do and how we make sure certain policies are enacted. As you know, again, we live in an open representative republic and free democracy, which means it's policy is directly dependent upon public buy-in and public buy-in. So like social capital becomes political capital becomes national will becomes steel on target, right? That's what you're looking to do. And so you and Goldie and the rest of you do a lot of good in a couple of ways, fighting the battle of the narratives. Yes. One is to sit there and debunk all the disinformation. Like one of the things coming out is this moral relativism regarding, oh, well, that tries to falsely argue that the Shah, the Savak under the Shah is somehow the same as the horrible stuff that the Mullah regime does, which is absolutely not true. I'm just using it as an example. The other one is to maintain the news cycle on the topics so you can guard against issue fatigue. Now, and you're already doing amazing jobs on that. To your point, though, because this is important regarding the important role you play, you cannot let the perfect be the enemy of the good or effective. And while everybody here, I promise you, everybody here, if this isn't too bold for me to say, understands your suffering anxiety, even though we can't personally experientially understand it, they understand that that's there. If you let things, while the anxiety gives you impetus to get things done, if you let it overwhelm you, then actually you're more apt to make a mistake. And I think that's what Ozzy is trying to do to help you. Well done, Ozzy.
Thanks.
My question is, if anybody knows a source tracking how many embassies are changing flags, because I know it happened in London, it happened in Oslo, but for what I can see, the news that are reporting of Oslo changing of the flag is like somebody, I don't know, spray painting graffiti, somebody damaging the embassy or something like that.
I don't think there is any trackers. I think that you just see it on social media. And I think the ones that you've heard of are it, because if it happens, it will go viral. These things go viral when they happen. So the ones you've seen are it.
Right. Michael?
Yeah. We should be criticizing more of the Western media, like the BBC, because those motherfuckers, they're like really in support of the Iranian regime. And then you have people like Pierce Morgan. These people get paid, man. If they ain't receiving the paycheck from one side, they'll talk shit about the other side. If they don't see that it is convenient for them to support the people and they're funded by Qatar, just look at Tucker Carlson, right? He's a great example of that. This is pretty dangerous. News media in today's world is pretty rogue. That's what I wanted to say. I think we should be criticizing the media.
But by the way, for people who are new here, the way to speak is to raise your hand by clicking the raise hand icon. Because I see some new faces here, so we sometimes remind people of that because people might not
Francisco
know
raised his
that.
hand
Oh,
again,
sure.
and some other
No
people.
problem. So if you want like a corrective opinions, I can produce something. When you see all these negating reporting stuff that are colliding, this is psychological warfare.
Right.
You need to, for your viewers, mostly for the Iranian viewers, you need to calm down, and control the
Right.
situation. Talk slow, be on that, because you know the
Yeah.
truth. You can't
Uh,
talk about it because this is psychological warfare, and you don't analyze it because it doesn't work. And you calm the people and you smile to the people, and this, it's very important. This is one thing that is important. The other thing is, and it wasn't your mistake, it was Tusi's mistake yesterday actually, that he reported on planes, I think, or sonic booms or something like that. I don't remember, and I don't want to give the exact location of where he reported it on. A very stupid move,
mm,
extremely stupid move.
mm,
Because if it, yeah, I believe that yesterday the thing with the plane, I believe it was a hoax in order to get the
mm,
IRGC stress, but you don't know
mm.
that. So even if you saw on Telegram that there are planes and stuff like that, you don't report it. If an Israeli pilot would have been shut down, God forbid,